This is a presentation on the needs assessment decision-making process. This method is designed to assist decision-making in various situations. In this presentation, we will be using a client to demonstrate how this process works. Our client, Jane, is 20 years old and a junior in college. Since she will be graduating in a year, Jane is mainly focused on her future after graduation and the steps required to have a successful career. The three decisions that Jane will be facing in the near future are as follows. First, Jane must choose whether to intern in DC or New York City this summer. Second, she must choose between going to grad school and entering the workforce following graduation. Third, she must decide whether or not she wants to stay in DC or to move closer to home directly after graduation. The method used to assist Jane in her decision-making is relatively simple. After the client identifies the three most important upcoming decisions to the expert, she must then decide upon information factors related to each decision. During this interval, it is important for the expert to guide the client in terms of distinguishing between wants and needs. After the information factors are listed by decision, they are then collated into general categories of information. Each category is then assigned a usefulness rating from 0 to 7 by both the client and the expert, with 0 being not applicable, 1 being the lowest rating, and 7 being the highest. Afterwards, the averages and the ranges are taken across all decisions for each information factor. These statistics are then used to classify each factor. When classifying each information factor, there are three possible categories. The first category is essential data. This category includes information factors with high average usefulness ratings and smaller ranges. Information factors in this category require immediate data collection. The second category is rapid data. This category consists of factors with high average ratings but larger ranges. These do not require immediate data collection. Instead, plans are set in place to collect the data for the future. The last category is the periodic data set, which consists of factors with low average ratings and larger ranges. These require data collection only when needed. Our client Jane had listed many factors that she was going to take into consideration for each of the three decisions. The expert helped Jane in distinguishing between factors that were wants and those that were needs. Finally, Jane identified 4 to 5 key information factors for each of her decisions. For decision 1, the factors were proximity to family and friends, housing, cost of living and expenses, and future opportunities. For decision 2, the factors were proximity to family and friends, future opportunities, quality of life, and cost of living and expenses. For the last decision, the factors were housing, proximity to family and friends, future opportunities, cost of living, and quality of life. After all the factors were collected, 6 general categories of information were determined. Future opportunities, cost of living, cost of additional expenses, housing, proximity to family and friends, and quality of life ended up being the main categories. Next, both the client and the expert rated each category on a scale of 1 to 7, with 7 being the highest. The zeros on the table indicate factors that had no effect on the final decisions. After ratings were assigned, the averages and ranges were taken across all three decisions for each information factor. Based on these numbers and the guidelines for classification as described in an earlier slide, future opportunities and cost of living were deemed essential. Cost of additional expenses, housing, and proximity to family and friends required rapid data collection, and quality of life was the only factor requiring periodic data collection. In general, this needs assessment decision-making process is a relatively simple procedure that quantifies the factors affecting each decision and ranks them. This helps to streamline and speed up the decision-making process. Furthermore, this method is useful in determining which information factors were most useful across all decisions and which were not. It is also useful to categorize each information factor as essential, rapid, and periodic to determine what data needs to be collected immediately and what data is less urgent. Since the decisions in this example were very similar, they had similar factors as well, and thus it was easy to determine which factors were most important. In conclusion, this needs assessment method is an effective way of ranking information factors in order to make good decisions.